Namaste. Welcome. Happy Friday, beautiful souls. Welcome to my Friday live stream. And Friday, beautiful souls. There we go. I thought today I would do something a little bit different. And usually on Fridays, I am here doing a tarot chat. And yes, I will be drawing some cards today, doing a reading for the collective through the 777 portal, but also offering you some of my own experiences in working with this energy and sort of breaking down the ways that I connect more deeply with spirit. And when there are opportunities in the universe to find more peace and more space, I find the more intentional I am, the greater the messages that come through at these times. And so I want to say welcome to all of you. And if you're coming here for the first time because you caught wind of this title of this live stream, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Sadhana, and I am an intuitive reader and teacher of tarot, and I am a Reiki master and work with the healing arts and different modalities privately with various students and clients, and it's just a real pleasure to work in a field that means so much to me. And so today I'm just going to share with you here some of my practices and thoughts on these spaces in time where we honestly have a greater opportunity to connect with spirit. Yeah, so welcome. I thought I would start today with a reading, and one of my suggestions for if you are a reader and you do work with cards, you do work with this sort of energy, is to find a way to scry. And I think one of the most mysterious of reading practices is scrying. Now, scrying can happen in a puddle. It could happen in a bowl of water underneath the moonlight. And today we're going to scry with the transparent tarot. Hello to everybody that's coming in. Hi, Donna. Happy Friday to you. And Jennifer H. Saskia. Blessings for the 7-7 portal to all of you. Now, this particular tarot is really beautiful because you can also create a sigil with this tarot. You could intentionally choose a few cards and put them together and build some energy and weave a little magic with a few cards. That's one of the, I think, the very unique and most powerful things to do with this deck. And so on this 7th day of July, 2023, this is a 3-card reading for the collective, deepening our awareness into this magical liminal space that we find ourselves. And as always, I ask that these messages be in the highest for the greatest good and that no harm be done. So be it. Hi, Amy. Welcome to you. I do have a light board on the table, and unfortunately with the camera it doesn't go bright. Okay. It looks a little bit gray. So the first card, and actually this fits kind of beautifully into where I'm going to go after this. Hi Aisha, welcome. And here we see a figure sitting in a corner and being alone. And this is actually one of my suggestions through this 7-7 portal, is to find some time alone. And it is through, and I have shared many a story on this channel, that when you create space for your aloneness, there is a tremendous opportunity to hear more clearly, to receive messages more clearly. And with the Five of Cups here, I think this is a brilliant opportunity with grace, with the spirit of this portal, to receive a deeper understanding of this emotional turning point that you are at, where truly, if you take time to pause, you will find the resource, you will find the clarity in what is ready to indeed be released, and then what is ready to be embraced. Ten of Cups. And this is such an interesting pair of cards together, where we see 1 and 2. And the 2 that we see on the left almost look as if they are 1. One is down low, one is up high, yet they are both grounded. They are both touching the earth. And I have this sense of reflection, space, and really something interesting on the left here. It's almost as if with that 10 of Cups, I feel there is a letting go. What if the 10 of Cups were a card of letting go, a card of release, instead of, how we kind of I think we dummy that card down as just a card of, abundant happiness. It is, the 10 of Cups sits in the energy of the planet of Mars. And so there is tremendous energy here between fire and water. And I'm wondering if there is some pent up anger that has caused this emotional confusion. The yogis look at depression as inverted anger. And so in the opening up, in the releasing, in the awareness, this can feel tremendously liberating. Finding the courage to let go is so very important. And with this is interesting because two water cards. And water seems to be an element that has been really important in a lot of healing readings that have happened over the last couple of days. Connect with water, go to the river, get to the lake, get to the ocean. Just connect with water. Now, if you can't get outside, there are other ways, through bathing, bowls of water that you can place on the altar around your house, your home. Water is an element that helps to cleanse. And so whether water comes through tears or it comes through a shower, over this next few days, really embrace the energy of water as cleansing energy. Be grateful for it. Thank the water that pours and runs freely out of your shower head, through your kitchen tap. How many times a week do you actually thank Spirit for allowing water to flow freely in your life? It really is a blessing. And it can also produce, this is a message that I wasn't expecting to receive, but if we are grateful for the flow and the abundance of water that runs in our life, Spirit will continue to allow things to flow. Be grateful. Be grateful for the flow of energy. Now, I'm looking at the whole deck here beside me and kind of scrying through the whole deck and the other cards that are here, and the major arcana that is sitting on top of this whole reading is the 15th arcana. What is it that you are bound to inextricably bound to, yet you know that it's a choice. You know that it's a choice. And you have this opportunity to find freedom. The cards underneath are letting us know the way through. The way through is through emotional release. That could simply be a good cry. It could be by cleansing yourself in the creek. It could be from I don't know, maybe you're going to make a ritual of your shower tonight or your bath. It's time, my friends, to really focus on the energy of release. And notice in a way how the water, the cups in the Ten of Cups make this archway with the chains of the Devil card. We have the portal of the circle. We have the portal of the archway. The chains are an illusion. They aren't really there. They are a perception. And I feel like you have a multitude of pathways through which you can go, through which you can walk. I found sometimes that on my forest walks, different places, even in public parks, if I'm in this mood of wanting to connect with liminal space and just really embracing my solitude and spirit, that I see things in a different way. And all of a sudden, the shape of branches or an opening in a pathway becomes something different. And I invite you to allow those openings to look differently today and over the next few days. To walk through them in mesmerized, curious. 15 connects us to the number 6, to the place of harmony and beauty and peace. And so through this emotional release, we can find a new freedom, a new connection with spirit, find deeper understanding. Okay. Now, Jennifer said, I'm not familiar with scrying, and I'm happy to share with you a little more about this practice. Of course, my neighborhood, I have to flow with this energy. My neighborhood, I don't know if you can hear it, there's a lot going on outside. With this particular tarot deck, you can build readings, 5, 10, up to 78 cards, and look through. I'm going to just shuffle the whole deck and show you the remainder of the deck. There is a transparent oracle as well too, which works beautifully for this as well. So if I put the whole deck now, you can't really get the effect here. What happens with this deck is you start to see deep, deep into the cards what is at perhaps a subconscious level, and then what is at the surface. And this is a really beautiful practice here. Can you hear the noise outside my home? I live near a YMCA camp, and right now, just behind my home, there is a whole parade of people walking up and down the street, cheering about something. It sounds like something you would hear in a fitness training, where the leader yells something and then everybody else repeats it. Anyway, hopefully the parade will pass by soon. So this works really beautifully with this deck. And Donna comments here about the Margaret Peterson. Yes, the Margaret Peterson is another deck where you can look into the many, many layers of these cards. And you should also know that this particular deck, the canvases were reused over and over. I'm smiling at this comment. I totally understand this. It's yeah. It's kind of wonderful, you know, life. So when Margaret created this deck, many of the canvases were wiped and then repainted upon. So there are many layers in this deck. Yeah, a wonderful deck to work with. And I also recently have been, over this last few days, spending time once again with Shadowscapes. And this is a mass market deck, easily accessible. And I think that if you have Shadowscapes, it's another deck that would do a beautiful job with this. Now, scrying is, if you've never done it, I would just be mindful about doing it at night, doing it in candlelight. I think candlelight scrying is an advanced practice, and if you want to dive right into the mystery and the magic of this, then I would certainly, and I'm holding up a glass of water here. It's got mint in the top, so hard to scry into bubbling mint water. Just be cautious, be careful, and I would limit the time that you are doing that. But I would take a few deep breaths, and if you're holding a bowl of water, or you are sitting at a place, or perhaps you have entered into the ocean and you're at this place and it's kind of quiet and the water is still, and you just kind of let your eyes blur and you take a few breaths and you ask Spirit for some clarity, and you look into the water, and you will see things. You will see swirls, and you might see shapes, you may see faces. It's an absolutely amazing practice. And of course you can scry with spheres, crystal spheres and things like that as well too. But I think this is an optimal time to spend time with that. Yeah. Okay. So, shall we get to my list? We're going to get to my list. And I haven't made any fancy banners for you. And I said 7, but there's a lot of things here, and they're all kind of related. Ooh, Aisha, that sounds amazing, scrying in the bathtub. All right, so the general message here is to simplify. And I would suggest one of the easiest things you can do is to clear your schedule. And I have been listening to Spirit, and I want you to know I am walking my talk. So tomorrow I was going to be doing a workshop, and guided by Spirit, I am moving this to the fall. And I was going to do one tomorrow and then resume in September. But this is just an example of listening and allowing Spirit to guide me. So sometimes we can feel badly about canceling plans or clearing our schedule because there might be concern about disappointing people, or I don't know. But I think if you trust in this notion, simplification is I'm going to say the overarching theme here for everything I'm sharing with you here today. And in simplifying our lives, we create space. And it's through creating energetic space that Spirit comes through more easily. We hear more clearly. We notice other things. So as we simplify, we make space. And so in clearing your schedule, there is all of a sudden this opening to do what it is you want to do, or what it is you want to practice. Okay? And then sort of this makes sense, and I think this showed up in the first card here, and that is to be alone. Right? So we had this card. Be alone. And don't be afraid to be alone. The greatest messages come through in times when you are on your own. I think if you knew how much more spirit was available, you would be alone more often. And you will begin to recognize your personal signs and messages more frequently and then more easily by spending time alone. And I can expand on that because I think and sometimes you can be alone together, granted that. So for example, after this, I'm going to go down to the beach with Amber and my partner. But my partner doesn't swim. And Amber goes off and does whatever she wants to do. And it's cooler today, so there won't be a lot of people there. And I can go off and swim and be under the water and float on the water and be by myself in my own space. So it is possible to have others around, but I would say it's ideal. It's ideal if you can be on your own. Yeah, and Laura earlier this week, she lost her beautiful doggie, Isis. And I think, Laura, honestly, this is magic. The portal through which Rati walked, I feel like you can, because the portal is open, you may also be messages from Rati. Like Rati might be able to walk through and touch you more easily at this time as well too. So if you want to have a chat with Rati, then heed some of these messages and be very intentional about connecting with Rati. Yes, and as with everyone else, sending you lots of love. Lots of love at this time. Rottweilers are so beautiful. And I'm sure, Laura, you know the children's book series Carl? I can't remember the illustrator. I believe it's all just picture books. And if you have never heard these, look up children's picture books, Carl the Rottweiler, because they are amazing. You might want to just, I'm sure you have lots of pictures of Isis, but there's something really beautiful about that. And I even think there is a book when Carl died. And Rosie, I'm not sure if Rosie is Carl's puppy. Oh, I love those books. Yeah. All right, simplify. Clear your schedule. Be alone. I would also suggest eating lightly. This is not a time to overindulge. And in general, this is a rule for amplifying your intuition and connecting with spirit. It's a rule for meditation. This is one of the reasons for meditation early in the morning, is because your digestive system is not disturbing you. So in general, I would advise eating lightly. Eating lightly, even fasting, if you're comfortable with fasting. Get out into nature, as I've already mentioned, and take your journal out into nature. It can run flow, automatic writing. Messages can flow much more easily out in nature. So if you can get a blanket and find yourself a nice place to be out in nature, that is a wonderful way to connect. And if you haven't done automatic writing, that is a real something you might want to practice, where there's no editing. You just simply listen and you write and you write and you write. And sometimes it just doesn't make sense, and there may be some compulsive maybe that is one of your chains. Interesting. Maybe that is one of your chains, and that is to be editing your journal. Being fussy about punctuation or spelling or something like that. I don't know. It is it's a wonderful thing to do. So you get out into nature, and I would also suggest taking a nap outside. And allowing yourself to fall deep asleep in nature can be tremendously enlightening. And you will not have greater dreams and messages, but also I feel, it doesn't take a lot for me to get there, and it even happens in my bed, in my bedroom, but I can feel it feels to me more like elemental energy around my ankles and my joints. I can feel the hands-on healing from little beings as I awake from sleep pretty much every day. It's really quite something. And out in nature, this can be really, really powerful. So I would suggest taking a nap in nature. But poor Donna, where she lives, there are so many bugs. Yes, this may be a problem, depending on where you live in the world. So, ooh, Jennifer, that sounds beautiful. And I can just imagine being on a swing or being on a hammock. I have a hammock in my backyard, and I love to fall asleep in my hammock. It is very magical. Yeah. Now, part of this as well too could be just to set an intention or ask Spirit a question as you are about to drift off, and of course that will amplify everything as well too. Okay. My next suggestion has to do with breath. And if you are not familiar with the practice of Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, this is a wonderful practice to speed up the transition into liminal space. Now, during portals, and this 7/7 portal is a massive portal. Usually my big portal of the year is the Lionsgate portal, the 8/8, because that is also my solar return. But this particular portal, because we are in a 7-year, I feel like this portal is, the energy is really, really strong. And I literally have been abuzz all morning since I did my meditation at 7 a.m. So there's a lot that may be open to you over this next couple of days that you've never experienced before. Okay, 7/7/7, 7th of July in a 7-year. All right, so sevens. Let's talk a little bit about sevens and how you can be intentional with the number 7. So I chose to meditate at 7 a.m. and I will again at 7 p.m. You can expand this and you could sit for 7 minutes or 77 minutes, or you could sit until 7 minutes past the hour. Play with the number 7. The number 7 carries a lot of spark. Let's call it spark. So if you, and sevens are not a number we often see because the clock, we don't get 777 on the clock, right? It's not one of those numbers that we often see. But you may see 711. You may see 17 minutes past the hour, or 7 or 27. So just pay attention to sevens and be with the number 7. We are all in a 7 year. And I wonder if, going back, I have started, and I will carry on Sunday, just so you know. So the readings that I started earlier in the week, I will be carrying on Sunday, and I will do as many as I can on Sunday. Go back to the chariot reading and see if there's a message for you in the chariot, and or even the chariot reading that I did at the end of December. You might want to pull out a chariot card and use that as a significator, and to see if there's messages in that. You could also pull out all of the minor sevens. Now 7, if we are tapping into the frequency of the tree of life, is also the planet of Venus. So that might be an energy you want to bring. Hello. My light board is talking to me. It just flashed on as soon as I said that. You might want to tap into the power of Venus. Okay? So Venus, and that's a tree of life correspondence. All right, so I know the planets all carry different numbers, and there's different ways to look at that, but that might be something that works for you. Your sleep and awake pattern. So see if you can connect, perhaps intending to sleep for 7 hours, if that's possible. Waking up at 7 o'clock is perhaps a little bit late, or perhaps early for you, but somehow tying in your sleep-wake schedule to this, I think will help a lot. So see if you can play with the number 7 with your sleep-wake schedule. Be intentional about the number 7. Perhaps you will, I don't know, it could be anything. 7 steps, 7 strokes, 7, just perhaps counting. I'm just seeing myself watering the garden, and something about the number 7. Sevens, just be focused on the number 7. Hi, Antoinette, welcome. It hadn't occurred to me of the 777. I was wondering if 7th of July had anything special today. Yeah, it's a really beautiful energy to connect with spirit. So I invite you to reflect on some of these things. I was going to talk about Nadi Shodhana. Sorry, I got distracted. Nadi Shodhana is alternate nostril breathing. And Nadi Shodhana is a practice that can take you quickly into liminal space. We want to get into liminal space so that we can receive messages and get clearer about our downloads. Now, Nadi Shodhana is a practice that you should take quite seriously and never go too far. And what I'm going to share with you now is very basic. And if you do not have a yoga teacher and you've never done this before, I would not take this to another step. Okay? So with the practice of Nadi Shodhana, you need to be aware of your left nostril and your right nostril. Be aware of breath in one side and then the other side. So what you can simply do, and usually with Nadi Shodhana, you always start with the left nostril. And so you close the right nostril and you just focus on the breath and slowly breathe, maybe 7 times, in and out the left side. You may be congested or slightly congested in the left side. And if that is the case, simply take your left hand, your left fist, and place it right in the lymph tissue underneath your right armpit and breathe, applying pressure to your lymphatic tissues underneath your right armpit. And this will help to create some release in the left nostril. So perhaps 7 slow breaths, left side only. And if this feels overwhelming, then remove your hand and just with your imagination, focus on the breath on the left side. Okay? And then you want to do the same for the right side. So you're going to close the left nostril and breathe right side only. The same number of repetitions that you did on the left side. Breathing in and breathing out. And if you are congested on the right side, you take your right hand, place it under your left armpit, and this should create some relief from the congestion. All right, so we do left side only first, right side only first. And then you can take a few breaths both sides before you begin the alternate nostril breathing. And alternate nostril breathing, you need to be very gentle. And if you've never done this before, you want to start very slowly, perhaps with a count of 3. And you're going to inhale left side, exhale right side. Inhale right side, exhale left side. Inhale left side, exhale right side. Now this practice can be done with or without your fingers. And you can place your second and third finger on your third eye. Take your thumb, close your right nostril, and inhale left side, counting. And then you're going to close the left side and open the right side. Exhale right side. Close right, inhale right, close right, exhale left. So you take this pattern up and down and up and down. You always start left and you always end left. This has to do with things that are beyond this video. So this practice of alternate nostril breathing is very meditative. For some people, it is quite soporific, and it can take you into liminal space quite quickly. If you feel your heart beginning to race, if you feel like you're going to pass out, stop. Don't do it. Okay? And if you would like to take this to the next level, then you need to reach out to a yoga teacher who knows what they're doing. Okay? And so inviting the number 7 into this practice, you could do 7 repetitions left side only, 7 repetitions right side only, 7 repetitions both sides. And then you could do your alternate practice 7 times. And then you could repeat it. You could repeat it once, you could repeat it 7 times. But if you've never done this before, be very slow and very careful with this. Okay? So yeah, Nadi Shodhana is it's a wonderful, wonderful practice. And like I said, it can be done without a hand gesture. It can simply be done. You can lie down on your back and just focus in your mind and do it with do your breathing with your mind. And there's so much I could share about this, and if you're interested, let me know, and I can do a workshop. Okay? Breath practices can highlight access to liminal space. All of these things, simplification, clearing your schedule, being alone, eating lightly, getting out into nature, taking a nap in nature, reflecting, will help you to listen better. It's important that you learn how to listen and trust what you are listening to. Now, we don't only listen with our ears. Did you get that? We don't only listen with our ears. We listen with the physical sensations on the body. Okay, so now Spirit sends me a message and my scalp is tingling. So that says to me, Sadhana, yes, this is really good that you said this. We don't only listen with our ears, we listen with all of our senses. And these include our three-dimensional senses as well as our 5D senses. And we can receive messages. So you could say that listening equals receiving messages, which is what I mean. Sorry. So all of these lifestyle practices can amplify your experience in any portal, anytime, any day. I mean, we have portals every single day. There is a portal every morning as in the dawn. And there's different times of day where we have these portals. But this one, 777, is very, very accessible. And it is open now, and it will be open for a while. Okay, so give yourself the gift of experiencing it, okay? I would also say that it is, and I'm thinking about what Donna said about the bugs. And you might not necessarily want to take it to this extreme, but I would say to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And I don't want to advise you doing something dangerous, but perhaps taking your comfort to the next level. And especially if you have fears, to test the boundary of your fears. And maybe that's another reason why this card was showing up on the top of the reading. Great, Jennifer, right? So you bring 7 into your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's great. Hi, Lydianne. I feel like you haven't been here in ages. Lovely to have you here. So test your boundaries. That might mean, well, I'm thinking myself, barefoot walking. I tend to take my flip-flops quite close to the edge of the ocean because I don't like walking on rocks. Could be something really simple like that. Maybe you are testing, I was suggesting light eating. So maybe you're testing the boundaries of going 1 more hour and simply sipping some water and then preparing your meal. When I say get comfortable with uncomfortable, when we take ourselves a little bit beyond our edge, I think we also get closer to spirit. And for those of you that have been following me for some time, you've heard me say this before, but I really feel like this card this is what one of the things this card is saying, and that is and then I hear that Karen Blixen quote, I learned if I could stay one moment longer, then it would be okay. It would be okay. So I think this is and of course, I can think of situations where I would not advise this. You never want to endure something that is harmful to you. So please don't take this in that direction. Do no harm. Do no harm to yourself, nor do you want to do harm to others. So I'm talking here about testing your boundaries, your personal boundaries with lifestyle practices so that you can begin to pierce the veil a little more intensely. Okay? Oh my goodness, I'm reading your comments in the chat. Okay. I have witnessed this, and I told you the story about the sadhu. We were sitting listening to him play music this was in Therapete, and we were sitting in the smasham, and the sadhu, who was playing some sort of a stringed instrument and singing the bhajan, and there were flies everywhere, and he didn't move or twitch or respond to the flies at all. And then he got a phone call, and he took an old flip phone out of his clothing and responded to the call, and then tucked the flip phone back in his wrap and just carried on like nothing happened. Like there was no transition. It was just smooth, no reaction, just everything just flowed so beautifully. And this is something that I always tried to share back in the day when I taught hot yoga. And I know as a hot yoga student, one of the ideas was, can you go a moment longer without wiping your sweat? Can you just let the body cleanse itself and let the water run down? And maybe today you breathe through it for a few more seconds. So there's lots of ways we can stretch the boundaries of our discomfort, and I think this is one of the it's a great lesson. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this 777 portal is an amazing opportunity for you to connect with spirit. And the way in and the amplification of what you will receive will be enhanced by adopting any of these suggestions. Certainly you don't need to do all of them. And I want to invite you to tap into the frequency of grace. I think that the energy of grace, and it's a word that has worked for me so beautifully, because it carries, in English, it carries subtleties of meaning. It's such a high frequency. Perhaps this can be carried over to moving gracefully, dressing gracefully, speaking gracefully. To be with grace as much as possible. Yeah. Ooh, and I thought of one more thing, which I didn't write down on my list, and that was to clean. Clean. Make sure you clean your kitchen before you go to sleep at night. Clear some space. Tidy things up a little bit, because spirit gets congested in our stuff, just like we do. So clear the windows, clean the windows, open the windows, allow energy to move through your space, because that can certainly help as well too. Okay. All right. That is what I have to share for you today. And shall we draw one more card for the scrying reading? Okay. Turn this back on and get the cards back on the screen. Okay. All right. I'm wondering if we should, okay, I'm going to draw 4 more cards. And then you can sit with these 7 cards, okay? 4 more cards. And I'll tell you what they are. And perhaps I will post a picture on my social media, and I can share it. Okay. All right, here we go. Queen of Pentacles. Three of Wands. And notice the shape that is forming. Four of Swords. There you are, lying in the forest, on the beach, in your dream temple. And last one, I believe. I'm going to count them just to make sure. This is 10. This is another 10. So that's the 10 over in this corner is the 10 of Wands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have one more. One more. What is emerging for you in this picture? What is the piece that is speaking to you? So we have a 10 on either side at the bottom, the 4 of Swords in the middle, the Devil's kind of in the middle with the chains. The flame of the 3 of Pentacles is overhead, 3 of Wands is overhead of the Queen of Pentacles. The very first card was the 5 of Cups. Okay, and we have one more card, so the last card. And it is an amazing card. Okay, so the card that is sitting on top is the Ace of Pentacles. There you go. Thank you for that affirmation, Aisha. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Amy says, I'm getting crown chakra vibes from that wands above the queen's head. Is it already 7? Did I do 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was already 7. Okay. It was already 7. I thought it was. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll put that one to the side. Okay. All right. Thank you, beautiful souls. And I hope this gives you some food for thought as you move through the next couple of days. And may you find light, clarity, and grace on your way. Much love and namaste.